Shepard!
You gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Don't argue with me, Kaidan.
Don't leave me behind.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite YouTube channel on the Citadel.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Oh my! Excellent.
I am so excited to talk about today's topic, and that is Mass Effect, because they just announced a new Mass Effect game, and it's huge, it's big, it's Mass Effect 4, it is not an Andromeda sequel, thank God. So I am a gamer, I guess I'm a gay gamer. I'm a gamer with a Y, I don't know, I've seen that on Twitter a lot. And Mass Effect was one of the first games that I've ever played that had like gay romance. So I want to talk today about gay romances in Mass Effect and why I think that Bioware has created some of the best.
Nice outfit. Control panel. Right.
And also cringiest.
Hi. Hi. Want to get out of here? Now? Yes. Your place.
Gay romances possible because they're really interesting and they're really fun. So let's get right into it, okay? Mass Effect has had some really cringy gay romances.
But I know you. Don't make me an anchor. Promise me, Steve.
Goodbye, Robert.
It's important to note that until Mass Effect 3, there actually were no gay male romance options.
I hear a few ladies have shown interest, but you haven't bitten yet?
I haven't had the right moment with the right man yet.
Mass Effect 3 actually starts off with the first gay male romance option, which is Steve Cortez, who is a widower who has very clearly been traumatized by losing his husband. He is optional. I played my first Mass Effect 3 the first time I played it without ever talking to him. And he died in my playthrough without me once even knowing his name.
Keep up the hard work, but don't kill yourself.
Yes, Commander.
Damn it, I'm hit! Steve!
And he was such an afterthought. He's not a companion, he's not a squad mate. He's such an afterthought that he literally wasn't even shadowed correctly. Like his shading is not correct. And every cutscene with him has to be in dark light, or otherwise it's really noticeable. This trend sort of continues for Bioware games, right? In Mass Effect Andromeda, there is a gay man who literally in the second conversation that you have with him, he asks you to have a baby with him.
Hey there. Hey yourself. Question for you. Shoot. When all this craziness is over, you think you'll have kids?
Because nothing says a progressive video game like a gay man being hyper fixated on adoption. Yeah, it's really bad. And it's cool, like obviously they were trying to go for the plot point of like, oh look, it's the future, like being gay is so acceptable, and like also they've made strides in technology, so like gay men can have biological children. They botched it. It was so bad. It was so bad. I was one of 4 people that played that game. It was so bad. It was so bad. And of course, Reyes Vidal is the only other gay option in Mass Effect Andromeda. He's hot. You know, that's it. That's all we got. There's Jaal, who's an alien whose species has over 100 genders, I believe. And in the Codex, it's and Jaal himself is very open about the fact that he believes that love is love. He is not confined by gender in terms of love. You know, he's very much like, I'm a free spirit. I will love who I love based on their personality.
Your binary of other races is irrelevant to us.
I've been using feminine pronouns this entire time. Should I?
On behalf of the Nexus, in my case, it's fine to continue. Thank you for asking. Have a look around. I appreciate it. Some Asari prefer male pronouns, while others gravitate towards gender-neutral where language allows.
My people have several pronouns to identify themselves with. Perhaps I should prepare a document.
Please do.
And he's straight. You can't make that up. Like that. It's so funny to me. When they literally when they released the game, there was such a backlash that this character, Like, I understand not wanting to make every character player sexual or make every character queer. I understand that. I think that's, sort of reasonable. I mean, as a queer gamer, I would prefer to have more romance options that represent me. But I understand if you think that a character shouldn't be queer based on their identity or whatever. You don't need a reason to make them queer. You don't need a reason to make them not queer. Jaal literally talks about being pansexual and says that his species is pansexual. It's like an Asari remix all over again, and they made him straight. Finally, they patched him to be bi, which I think is hilarious. They literally patched a character as bi. And they sort of did the same thing to Kaidan, which is what I'm going to talk about in this video. So we've established now that Bioware has had some really rocky queer relationships in its games, especially for male options. You have to think about sort of the monolith that is the gaming community, and when you think about how it's not really a monolith, you can understand sort of their decisions behind making queer characters that were either not immediately accessible or their queerness was sort of hidden behind conversation, like soft locks, whatever, which is the case for a lot of them, like Steve Cortez. But then you have Kaidan Alenko and Male Shepherd. And this romance was so good and so well done that I am so excited to play the next Mass Effect. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. So let me just delve right into it. So in Mass Effect 1, you are an Alliance soldier. You were recently promoted to a Spectre, and Kaidan Alenko is on your squad from the very beginning. But he's not a romance option, right? Despite being on your team for the entire game, he's only a romance option for a female shepherd.
Hard to imagine a general like that getting so upset about a woman.
That's because you don't understand women, Kaidan.
But it gets interesting because not only does Kaidan Alenko give off huge bisexual energy, he was apparently planned to be a gay romance option as well. He was planned to be canon bi from the first game. There are cut recordings, there's cut dialogue and a cut romance path for Male Shepherd and Kaidan that can be accessed if you go into the game's master files. So there are patches of the game, like fan-made patches of the game, that allow you to have a Kaidan romance using just what's literally left over in the game. It just doesn't have a lot of the narration, like the audio files. But why would they do this? Why would Bioware do this? Basically, they just copped out, right? Gaming world was a different place more than 10 years ago. And when Mass Effect 1 came out, it was really hard for them to already sell having the Asari, who are a genderless species, already have a female romance option, a gay female romance option between two women. And that's possible between Liara and FemShep. And the only way that they were able to circumvent it is that Liara is technically a genderless species. She's an Asari, and although she uses she/her pronouns and she appears feminine, she is not, in fact, a woman in the same way that, in the way that we know it. And it was really clever and it was really subversive, and it got them around it. So in Mass Effect 1, Kaidan is just a squad mate. You can literally choose to have him die. And in fact, if you pick up playing Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3, he will be the de facto dead squad mate. So yeah, so in Mass Effect 2, which I genuinely love, Mass Effect 2 is my favorite in the series, Kaidan shows back up, but in between the series of Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, Shepard has died and been brought back to life by Cerberus, a terrorist organization that is xenophobic, and it is bent on the advancement of humanity at any cost. So when you meet back up with Kaidan, number one, he's shocked that you're alive, and number two, he is betrayed that you are no longer with the Alliance and you're working with one of their enemies, a terrorist organization. And there's a sort of nuance in Mass Effect 2 where Shepard is either using Cerberus if you're playing Renegade, or he's saying, well, our goals align and I just have to save all these colonists because Cerberus is also trying to save a bunch of colonists in Earth colonists from the Collectors. So he says that basically either way, the ends justify the means. I have to work with these people because nobody else is going to give me the resources to fight the Collectors. So regardless of if you find that morally just or not, Kaidan certainly does not. And he's very upset about it. And you almost fight him in Mass Effect 2.
But there were rumors that you weren't dead, that you were working for the enemy.
Cerberus and I want the same thing, to save our colonies. That doesn't mean I answer to them.
Do you really believe that? Or is that just what Cerberus wants you to think? I wanted to believe the rumors that you were alive, but I never expected anything like this. You've turned your back on everything we stood for.
So that brings me finally to Mass Effect 3, which is where BioWare finally bit the bullet and said, okay, we're going to make Kaidan a bisexual character. It took them 3 games. 3 games. And this is where the magic happens, right? Because your first meeting with Kaidan, you have been imprisoned by the Alliance, or you surrendered yourself, depending on the events of Mass Effect 2, after dropping an asteroid on a Batarian colony and killing, I believe, billions of Batarians. Again, a very questionable moral choice, but that probably would not inspire confidence, and it's probably why Kaidan says something to the effect of,
You know the commander?
I used to.
did you know this character? I used to. To James Vega. And you sort of go through this very awkward period where you spend one mission together, the first mission in the game, where there's a lot of like genuine feelings of betrayal and hurtness that come out. You know, how could you do this? You are not the commander I knew. And there's this really, really like interesting plot that happens where before Shepard can even begin to say, no, you don't understand, I had to do this, Kaidan is beat the shit out of, and he's taken to the hospital. So you sort of, everything gets put on hold, and in order to romance him, you have to go to the hospital a few times, get him a special gift, and then pick certain options. So it's, again, the romance is soft locked behind sort of, if you were a straight character, you would never pick these options, and at the first sign of things getting romantic, you would just back away, right? So I think that that's fine, because if straight people hate one thing in video games, it's being ninja'd into a queer romance, which is why BioWare literally makes it painfully obvious that you're choosing the steps that would go into a romance. But anyway, let's say you pursue the route, you get Kaidan, I think it's a beer or something, in the hospital, and you tell him that he's looking good. He very awkwardly says something to the effect of, are you flirting with me?
Maybe some things get better with age.
Or maybe you have.
Are you flirting with me, Commander? Wait. Don't tell me. Let me live in the illusion.
And I remember when I was a teenager playing this game, my heart was like fluttering. I was like, I've never seen a gay romance that is so normal. Is so normalized, right? These are just 2 soldiers. They used to be enemies. Their whole plot is that Kaidan doesn't know if he can trust Commander Shepard anymore after Commander Shepard has allied himself with Cerberus, right? He's done sort of very reprehensible things in order to save the galaxy. So it's so much bigger than so many other like gay romances where it's just sort of like, oh, like you're in the closet, like whatever. No, they don't even talk about that. This is just very much, it's very face value what this romance entails. And I think that's sort of the beauty of it. I think that BioWare created a really great gay romance by making it so that you couldn't romance Kaidan in Mass Effect 1. I still think it's a cop-out that you couldn't. But it created this sort of beautiful narrative script where Kaidan is, let's just say he's closeted bisexual in Mass Effect 1. In Mass Effect 2, maybe he's had feelings for you this whole time, and there's an extra element of hurt and betrayal to when you left the Alliance and are now working with one of the enemies, which is Cerberus. In Mass Effect 3, there's this added dimension of you were friends, and now you're enemies, and now you become lovers. And I love enemies to lovers as a trope. I think it is so good. It's so fun. I'm a writer, and I've literally put it into my stories because I think it's really, really fun. And it allows for so much wiggle room, and it allows for you to really know characters, where the 2 characters get to know each other's flaws before anything else. So this sort of like really close friends to enemies, to strangers, to lovers, becomes this added twist that's so subversive and so cool when put into a queer context that I just love it.
Shepard, I gotta say, I'm not too crazy about this plan.
We've come too far to stop now. The way home is through Leviathan.
Okay, SEALs check out. Oxygen pressure is nominal. Systems are a go. It's as ready as I can make it.
Let's go.
But Shepard...
I'll be fine. Closing hatch.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Hell of a headache.
Never do that again.
And it's not to say that the romance is perfect, right? There's still a lot of things that sort of are awkward. You know, he definitely should have been a romanceable option from Mass Effect 1, but the fact that he wasn't creates a really cool story arc, and it creates a really great narrative, I think, where finally he admits his feelings to Shepard as they're facing the literal end of the world.
But I guess I'm just choosy or patient or... I don't know. Maybe what I've never found and what I want is something deeper with someone that I already care about. That's what I want. What do you want?
You and me? Is that what you're saying, Kaidan?
It feels right, doesn't it?
Be nice to have someone to turn to when things get grim.
And there's such a sweet payoff of you had to do so many things right for this moment to happen. You had to save him on Mass Effect 1. You had to, I guess, not be a jerk to him on Mass Effect 2. I actually don't know if there's anything you could have done in Mass Effect 2 to prevent it from happening. And then in Mass Effect 3, you have to go through this very specific series of pathways in order to sort of regain his trust. And I think that that makes it such a magical romance. It was the height of queer romance in gaming for me.
Shepard!
You gotta get out of here.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Don't argue with me, Kaidan.
Don't leave me behind.
No matter what happens, know that I love you. Always.
I love you too. Be careful.
Go!
So, with BioWare's announcement that they're coming out with a new game, I am so beyond excited to see what they do. I genuinely cannot wait to see it. I really hope that there's more Kaidan Mailshep. I'm just such a huge fan. And yeah, I cannot wait for #1 Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I'm going to play the hell out of that. But also Mass Effect 4. I think it is going to be so good. Alright, so thank you for watching this video. This is sort of a new thing. I haven't really done anything like this in terms of like gaming commentary, I guess this would fall under. So if you liked it, please leave a like. You know, it really helps my channel. I have sub 100 followers right now. I would love to make it to 100. And yeah, every like comment or whatever, if you subscribe, if you like this content, it actually really helps me. It helps me gain more followers, and it helps me gain traction, and it gives me motivation to post more things. So yeah, that's all I got for today. Maybe comment below who your favorite queer character in a Mass Effect game is, or if you think that, or what your predictions are for Mass Effect 4, because I have some theories. Alright, bye everyone.